Hello and welcome to Mindfulness in the Classroom, learning from our students. My name is Sophia Roth. I am partnered with Miss Elizabeth Grace, and we are your presenters today. I am going to share my screen with you as I continue to introduce myself. So as I said, I am Sophia Roth. I am a lead preschool teacher at Ford Early Learning Center in the Ypsilanti Community Schools. I have been with Ypsilanti for 1 year. It was my first year teaching. I was within my preschool classroom as well as then online. I had just graduated from Western Michigan University with a degree in early childhood education out in Kalamazoo. So my journey with mindfulness and why it's important in my own teaching practice as well as partnering with my students and colleagues stems from my own education and my own use for mindfulness in my life. I was a student that struggled with, especially in college, anxiety, uncertainty, and kind of a little bit of anger. And I found that through my professional developments and learning more about mindful practice and connecting with my moment in the classroom or within trying to get work done, it benefited my own work. Then within my last semester of school, my internship, I went in the spring semester, and it was rough. It started in a tough school, in a tough classroom. I was in kindergarten, and these students were, we had no relationship built, so it was hard to kind of connect and definitely to teach, so we had to really start from square one. And I saw them respond so beautifully to mindful practices and really helped us all to kind of get out of that survival mode and enter into thrive mode. So I'm so excited to be partnered with Elizabeth, Miss Grace, and to get to chat with you through our screens. I wish it was in person, but for screens in mindfulness in the preschool classroom. Thank you.
So let's start with a definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. A mental state achieved by focusing on one's own awareness of the present moment. The Association for Mindfulness in Education states that mindfulness is paying attention here and now with kindness and curiosity. I love that definition because it really taps into two key areas for us as educators: our curiosity about children and their curiosity about learning, and kindness, the two-way street for both of us. So why discuss mindfulness? With the many tasks that teachers have around lesson planning, routines, increased hygiene in this time of our pandemic, focusing on language and literacy and development, assessment, observation, compliance. Why focus on mindfulness? Well, let's talk about what we know the impacts of mindfulness are for both children and for adults. Research has shown for children, increased levels of mindfulness are associated with improved functioning across all domains: physical, cognitive, social, and emotional domains. Ties right into our language, our literacy, our math, our problem solving, our big body movements that we do with children. Mindfulness enhances the self-regulatory processes and general well-being of children. Self-regulatory processes are a key area that preschool teachers tune in on, for this is the time that children are learning about sharing, collaborating, cooperating, impulse control, the ability to state one's needs without actions over words. And mindfulness promotes compassion and empathy. Now we know for teachers that there are many aspects of mindfulness that really support the teacher in their teaching and life overall. Mindfulness has been associated with teachers having deeper teachable moments. The co-presenter, Miss Sophia Roth, and her associate teacher are so tuned into the children around teachable moments. They pause, they dig deeper, they give their attention. which gives children the opportunity to see an interested adult wanting to know more. Mindfulness for teachers is associated with less burnout, more satisfaction with career choice, and better overall self-care for us as educators. Mindfulness supports reflective practice, something all of us need to be doing around our teaching. The stopping, the thinking, the reflecting on how we taught, what went well, what didn't, what's working, how did something feel? How did children respond? What were they telling us? Mindfulness helps manage stress and challenges in the classroom. And what teacher wouldn't want those areas improved? And we propose to you through this presentation that mindfulness enhances relationships with our colleagues, with the families of our children that we teach, and in our personal lives. Good stuff for all of us.
What is mindfulness? That's kind of the name of the game with this presentation, mindfulness, allowing our students to lead us in joy and wonder and mindful communication and participation. So I want you to take a moment. You can feel free to pause the video or continue on, think of it internally. What to you is mindfulness? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it mean for an adult and a child? Just what is mindfulness? Disregard those white words on the screen. I would say that it is lending oneself completely in the moment. That can be running, that can be jumping, that can be pretending to cry to illustrate an emotion, that can be approaching a child that is communicating with me an emotion that they themselves can't communicate verbally. And I ask them if they look at my face and try to tell me what they're seeing on my face. Maybe I mirror theirs a little bit and ask them what that looks like. They're getting out of their own headspace. They are kind of connecting with humans as well as the space around them. They are lending themselves completely in that moment. So throughout this, we're going to kind of revisit that word mindfulness and how that affects both our students, ourselves, and how they can kind of guide our hands in our journey through this practice.
So as you'll see in this video clip of mindfulness journey in a preschool classroom, preschoolers are innately mindful. It is us that needs to slow down, tune in, and learn from them. Now, having watched the clip, let's spend a moment thinking about what we can learn from children. As I stated earlier, and you heard in the video clip, children are innately mindful. They are good at being in the here and now, especially when the here and now engages their curiosity. Children, we know, seek and find refuge in peace. That doesn't mean that they always want everything to be quiet. It means that inner peace, that calmness for them is something they seek out. Children do know how to slow down and pause, and we have much that we can learn from them. Please take this time to pause yourself and create a list of what children have taught you during this past school year. What did children teach you? A good way to consider our own mindfulness is to consider the list that we just created. Did you find yourself pausing and thinking of how a child taught you about the joy in blowing bubbles, or the challenge of selecting their book at rest time? Maybe a child taught you about being still, then going into big body movements all within a minute of time. Mindfulness does add a softness to the day, but that doesn't mean it excludes movement. Movement can be mindful. Dancing and jumping can be mindful. Mindfulness is tuning into your actions. It's tuning into your breathing. It's tuning into your thoughts. Take a moment and watch this YouTube piece that's going to tell you more about mindfulness. When is it joyful in your preschool classroom? Joy can come from a discovery, a connection, a giggle, and so much more. You'll learn more about joyfulness as we explore mindfulness together.
So this would be a video that can be used before we are beginning our circle time, before small group, pretty much anywhere within your daily schedule where a moment of kind of a full body scan could be useful for our young ones as well as for ourselves as teachers. So I invite you to kind of view this video and participate as you would as a child would, to kind of get us grounded and set up going forward. I will show you my screen as to where this video will be, and you can go ahead and pause us and get set on our Headspace video. This one's going to have our friend Elmo. So this activity that we just did, it can be used also in a way within our circle time. Something that I have my students do is if we're on the carpet and what we are talking about is just not, it's not bringing us joy, it's not bringing a spark of light for each student, it's just not working. I'll try to see that and notice that and maybe ask, the carpet feels really itchy right now. Can you use your hands on the carpet and feel how itchy it is? Oh, I don't know. I don't like it. It's made me feeling kind of annoyed. It's itchy. Then we might go around and talk about, how do you think the carpet feels? Does it make you feel kind of calm? Does it make you feel kind of angry? Maybe you don't like how the carpet feels. It's not having a silly conversation as it can kind of be misconstrued as. It's bringing us into this conversation, this moment. My mind is connected with my senses are connected to myself, and I'm connected to the people around me.
Our next topic is about how mindfulness is not a destination, but rather a journey. If we think of it as a practice, like our preschoolers do, they practice learning how to be in a group. They practice hanging up their backpacks and their coats. They practice everything from their social conventions to eventually drawing and scribbling and writing. It is about practice making progress, not practice equals perfection. Mindfulness will never be about perfection. It will always be about the journey. So if we acknowledge that we're going to have speed bumps along the way, there are going to be times where we forget to stay in the moment, that our mind races elsewhere, that some of the tasks and duties that we have to care for overtake the care and education in that moment for children. If we understand that occasionally that's going to happen and don't give up on being mindful, but rather embrace those speed bumps as a way to practice more, we will truly be stronger as mindful teachers, learning from our children, with our children, in our day-to-day interactions.
So focusing on joy. Our number one, let them lead you. You know they will try. They have so much they want to say. They have so much that they are so excited about and is on their mind and is on their, is on the tips of their tongues. So let them. And that is easier, I think, said than done. I've heard that from a lot of people, and throughout my, recent time being in school. But when you're in the middle of your circle time or in the middle of your question of the day and you've got 16 kids that want to say something, it's not always possible with the time in the day, but that can be a conversation too. When we have our conversation breaks, which is when they would see that dark line, and maybe we just truly did not have time to have everybody say everything they could possibly want because we would have been there for hours. We would ask students to lock it in their brain, kiss their brain, and making sure that we are coming back to that conversation because you can see how much joy it's bringing them. But if there is time and if there is even the ability to take that item that they're so excited about and integrate it in the day, then I think letting them lead us helps us to practice mindfulness. And as we all know and hear, that when there is a moment of joy and inspiration in any part of the day, it's so beneficial to bring that throughout the rest of the day to keep interest and excitement. Focusing on joy also can be done by focusing on joy, and actually also on just emotions in general and where we're at as human beings, can be talked about with our children, just within our feelings. Asking, how does your mask make you feel? Do you like wearing your mask? Does it ever feel itchy? And then I have on our slideshow as well, how are your fishies today? In the beginning of our school year, to introduce talking about our own emotions, we watched a video that will also be linked in this presentation, and that we will also watch, where it's describing our emotions as a pond, or kind of, I should say, our inner self as a pond. So each person has a pond inside of them, and in that pond are fish, which are cute and swimming, and who doesn't love fish? So right now, at this current moment, my pond is full of fish that feel very calm. They feel confident and calm. Sometimes students find it easier to talk about their own feelings, especially in the initial stages where nobody's ever asked them, do you feel frustrated? Nobody's ever asked them, you look really or told them you look really excited. So that vocabulary is completely new, but allowing them to kind of project that emotion onto an animal, specifically in this case a fish, maybe that can be fluid for another classroom, allowed them to be comfortable talking about those, or saying those emotional vocabulary words, saying, my fishy is angry right now, my pond is full of angry fish. And then maybe we talk about, okay, so how can we calm those, or how can we make those fishies feel better? And as a class, we're talking about that. How can we get those fishies from being angry to maybe feeling a little bit more calm, so we can maybe get to rest, because fish have to rest too. And this doesn't always have to stay at that stage for students. We had a lot of students that would then lose that fishy piece from the beginning of the year, and now it was just, instead of my fish feel angry, it was I feel angry, and we're able to start there from a new point of view. So right now I'm going to have us pause this video, and we are going to watch that suggested video of watching how to describe your feelings as if it was a pond. And this is something that my classroom found really beneficial, especially in those beginning.
With mindfulness being a journey and not a destination, we can think about what tools we need as we go along that journey. In front of me are a few of my favorite tools that I have used with preschool children. A simple maraca. Sometimes the maraca is simply used as a talking stick for us to share with one person at a time speaking. But oftentimes the maraca is used for children when they would like a moment to themselves and need to shake it really hard, shake it medium, or shake it softly. Sometimes I use it with preschool children who are feeling rather frustrated in the moment, and giving them that opportunity to tune into their bodies, their hearts, their minds, and shake, shake, shake gives them that chance to use it as a calming, centering way. Sometimes teachers will say to me, but if I do that, she's going to shake it for a long time. No, the child won't. The child will shake it for as long as it is needed for them to find the energy released through their arms into the maraca to come back and be centered. Another tool I like to use are soothing bottles. This soothing bottle is simply water, a little bit of vegetable oil, all contained with some food coloring in a plastic bottle. Now you can use drinking bottles if you'd like, but I prefer to buy the bottles either from Joann Fabrics or from Michael's, or order them through Amazon, whatever means you have, because they're a little bit sturdier. They come with the black caps. I hot glue the caps on and then cover it with duct tape. Now, red would not necessarily be my first choice for a soothing bottle. This was actually created with a preschool child. The child was able to tell me as we were doing some work together how they would like the bottle made. I was able to make it to their specifications at home and bring it back in for them. This child was able to use this bottle anytime they wanted to focus on their breathing, on their body, on how they were feeling. Now, yes, you can add some sequence in there, but if you start adding lots of other things where it becomes an I spy game, it is not going to be a soothing bottle in quite the same way, but it can still be mindful. The last item I want to show you is something that you'll have in your classroom, writing utensils. However, these writing utensils are a big bouquet of colored pencils put together in a jar, tied together with a ribbon. I like to use a clear container and a ribbon as a way of making the pencils pop out at the top with the leads pointed up, freshly sharpened for children. This is something I use around mindfulness in the classroom, as children need to really stop and consider before they pick from this jar what their mindfulness pencil is going to be that they're going to draw or color, create with. Children know that through drawing, they express themselves, even if they can't express in words. And that is truly a part of a mindful practice. Mindfulness materials in your classroom can truly be anything that helps children to pause, to center, to be focused. But remember, mindfulness doesn't need to be quiet. Mindfulness can be big body movements, cross body movements, up and down, raising our heart rate, things that get the body going. It's how we do those things that determine whether or not we are being mindful. The more we help children tune in to what their body is experiencing, the sensations that they're having, the heartbeat, the anxiety, the excitement, the speed, the pace, the calmness, the more we're helping children teach us about mindfulness. Because they're going to be in the moment, we're just helping them tune in to what it's feeling like for them, and that causes us to pause.
So the next video that we are going to watch together is from the University of California. It involves tips and kind of tricks to help ourselves and also to help cultivate mindfulness in our children. We've been talking about how it is so innate in our students, and it really is their first instinct is to be mindful in the moment. So I think these tips almost help us with our own reminder to continue to help them create that mindfulness. So I will share my screen with you so we can look at the thumbnail of our video. Once again, this is Dr. Diane Hart. She is interviewing David Siegel from the University of California. And this is from about 2018. So you can go ahead and pause our video here and click on that link in the comments. We will resume after. So as we saw in that video from the University of California, some of his suggestions were to, instead of mindful as more of a sedentary, we're sitting in our spot and it's right where we're going to be, instead of it being like that, which I think can be what people almost associate the word meditation with, it can be a very movement and joyful based practice. So for example, he mentioned instead of while we're just walking in a straight line, we're pretending we're on the moon. So in my own classroom, when we are going from our carpet time to our tables, instead of let's walk in a straight line right to our seat, maybe that week we're excited about animals and we saw in our free choice that we were playing with a lot of lions and tigers. We were arranging them in our groups on the carpet, and so Now we are going to walk like your favorite big cat, because lions and tigers are all big cats. So you're going to be a big cat over to our table. And similarly in our computer classrooms, as we'll be starting, instead of that in our physical sense, that could be in our computers, on our computers. So if we are doing music today, number 3, and we want to be mindful within that song, we are going to sing Five Little Monkeys as if we are monkeys. So we've been excited about animals. That's something that as we stopped at each line and we get to have our own talk breaks, we've been showing our interest in animals. We seem joyful about it, and it brings us out of our current home to our computer, focused on those connections with the person across the screen from us. And we want to sing like monkeys, so maybe we're doing monkey movements, or maybe we are making our voices sound like monkeys but still counting and still focusing on that numerals within the song. So at this time, we are going to watch a video that I made for my classroom as we transition to online learning. We had a series of breath work that we would do when we noticed that our energy level was higher than it was allowing us to kind of move forward into certain parts of our day. Maybe we needed to kind of get ready for our nap time. We needed to get ready for those moments in our day that are kind of unavoidable things that children need. So while we were at home, I tried to facilitate and support my parents and my students in a way by creating within the Google Classroom all those variety of breaths that we loved to do and seems to bring us joy in one file. So in this video that we'll watch, we will see myself running through all of the different breaths that we used in my classroom. So we'll go ahead and pause this video and start the next link. I will show you on my screen what is going to look like. And this is also up on YouTube. Hi friends, thanks for coming to do circle time with us. Today, I think we're gonna start with doing some of our breathing that we do in the classroom. So at the very end, we sing our song, we say, hello, everybody, so glad to see you. And then we finish and we go, hello to the classroom, so glad to see you. So big breath in, airplane breath, wiggle. One more time. One hand on your belly, 2 hands on your belly, breathe it in, push it out. Make your wind out of your mouth, breathe in. One more time for 3. Okay, now let's do our pretzel. So twist your arms if you want. If you can't twist your arms, you can twist your fingers. If you can't twist your fingers, maybe you could hold your hands together and kind of twist them together, lock them up good. Let's breathe like our pretzel. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. All right, how about we do our balloon? So when we do our balloon, remember, 1 hand on your head, 2 hands on your head, blow up your balloon. Pop it. Blow up your balloon. I'll do down here. Pop it. One more time. Pop it. All right, let's shake. Oh man, sometimes if you're feeling really frustrated or maybe. So as you can see from those videos, there are endless amounts of breathing activities, and there's many more that can be made up. So at the bottom of that page, I asked, I'm going to show you my screen again on our presentation, what kind of breathing would they like to do? We are asking our students, what kind of animals make you happy? What kind of cake makes you happy? Those candles on the birthday cake that we smell, we blow out, is it a chocolate cake? Is it a vanilla cake? Let them take ownership of their parts of the day. They want to. They, you know, at times we can struggle with it a little bit. So we are kind of bowing down in that way by giving autonomy and ownership out of the routines and asking them, okay, what are our favorite breaths that we do? We're going to write 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to come up with our routine together. Maybe this is something that's done in the first couple of days of school, or if not, it's something that can be done at any given time. The next video we are going to watch is another one from my Google Classroom. The story behind this video is that during a class time, we were getting a lot of conversation about our families. We wanted to talk about our families. We wanted to show our families. There was so much joy regarding the people in their home, but then also missing the people that were our classroom family. So in order to do this, I was able to kind of record and not have their faces in it and somewhat show you what our lesson looked like when we were talking about our families and trying to be mindful and, okay, so who's in our home that we would consider family, as well as kind of broadening that definition of family and following their lead by kind of leaning into this topic that they were interested by. So I'll go ahead and play that now. Hi everybody, thank you for joining us for our drawing video. Let's start by looking at our schedule. Number 1, we would sing our hello song. Here's my smiley face, say hello. Number 2 is our question of the day. I see those question marks next to my number 2. Can you read my question with me? So your eyes are on the screen, your ears are listening. Let's read my question. Get your magic reading finger. Do, 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 do. Who is in your family? Let's read it again. Who is in your family? And I see a question mark at the end, so I know Miss Roth is asking me a question. Who is in your family? Let's think for a second. Who is in my family? Okay, I've got an idea. I've got another idea. Them too. Okay, so now that you have your ideas, I want you to get a piece of paper. I'm going to use a dry erase board and a pencil. A piece of paper and a pencil. And we're going to draw who is in our family. So I'm going to draw my family so you can see what I mean. If you want to just listen, or if you want to draw with Mrs. Roth, you can do that too. So Mrs. Roth's thinking, who is in her family? Am I in my family? Thumbs up, yes or no? Thumbs up, I'm in my family, so I should draw myself, and you would draw you. So here's Mrs. Roth. She's got a head and a body. I'm going to do a stick body. She's got 2 arms, 1, 2, 2 legs, 1, 2, 2 eyes, 1, 2, 1 nose, 1, and a smile. Oh, I almost forgot my hair. Here's my hair. I'm going to give me a bun. Here's my bun, kind of like my hair up here. All right, so there's Mrs. Roth. Since we all are educators, we wanted to just quickly show you and mention a study kind of backing up what we're saying within mindfulness done by the Harvard Center for Education Research, their Boston charter. This study itself is speaking on mindfulness in the classroom, learning from a school-based mindfulness intervention through this charter. As you can see, and I'll have this linked in our PowerPoint as well, that they are promoting a promising way to reduce stress and anxiety in students, and this study kind of backs up that these practices are working for students. And finally, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have an ending slide with resources and links. We are both so willing to be available to you with any questions as well as with any ideas. This is a partnership. And just kind of to take with you, to let your children lead you in whatever capacity that is, to kind of quiet the noise around us, which is full of deadlines and due dates and expectations, and really you are those people conversing on the front lines with our students, and they are so happy to see you, whether it's in person, through a screen, in any capacity, and connecting with humans, connecting with our minds, connecting with the place around us, and kind of leaning into our emotions and how the current moment feels. So enjoy the rest of your professional development week, and thank you so much for joining us. Bye. So here is that list of resources. The first one is from the National Association for the Education of Young Children, kind of implementing nature-based practices. The second resource is Little Flower Yoga. They have resources for all ages and a really great couple of videos and trainings from Cove Preschool for mindfulness in preschool. The third is from Mindful Schools. Kind of the title of this article is Transforming Future Mindfulness Within Early Education. And the fourth is Michigan specific. It's the Michigan Collaborative for Mindfulness in Education. These are all links to the website and just ways for you to explore.